We now have BYD's electric vehicle delivery numbers from August, and frankly, they are absolutely mind-blowing insane. But what is much more insane is what the CEO of BYD just said. He just said something that just blows my mind. Can BYD do what he said? Well, the guy is a very humble and modest man, I have to say, to be fair. Considering he's also one of the richest men in China, he's remarkably humble. And what he said, well, it really does change the game. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for supporting the channel on Patreon or as a member of the channel. Great to have you. BYD sales figures, what are they? Before I get into what I think is the really interesting information that's just been released within the last hour, BYD has delivered 175,000 electric vehicles of some sort, plug-in hybrids or fully electric vehicles, in the month of August. That is another record high. And, well, it makes them the powerhouse of China. It's pretty much official now. They're the biggest automaker in China. They've surpassed Volkswagen. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but it's pretty safe to say that's what's just happened. So, you know what? Congratulations to you guys at BYD, to the employees, to everyone who's ordered one, who owns a car. You know, you're all part of it. It's great news. I know a lot of people are going to say it's the Chinese CCP. It's not the CCP. Yeah, I understand the CCP. You think they own everything. They don't. BYD is a private company, which is the reason why, you know, Berkshire Hathaway own a very large percentage of that company, about 9%. By the way, they just sold more of their shares. On the same day, these delivery numbers came in. Plus, on the same day that we hear this crazy prediction from the CEO of BYD. Let's have a look at these numbers for starters. This was BYD's 6th consecutive month of record highs, of breaking their own record month after month after month. And it's an increase of 185% from the 61,409 vehicles that they delivered 1 year ago, and an increase of 7.6% from the 162,000 vehicles they delivered in July. So an increase of 185% from where they were 12 months ago. You know, I'm still baffled. Where's Volkswagen? Where's all these companies? Where's Toyota? Where are all these big global powerhouses? Why aren't they making any EVs? How can BYD ramp up at this pace? How can they, you know, triple their electric vehicle deliveries in the space of 12 months? When, you know, these big, massive conglomerates can't even do it in the space of 2 years. I don't understand. But BYD, wow, just amazing stuff here. Now, what were the percentage of EVs versus plug-in hybrids? Well, here is when things get a bit confusing. A lot of misinformation is out there. A lot of people legitimately think plug-in hybrids are growing in market share because they see these numbers from BYD. Therefore, what BYD says must mean that's what is going on all over the world, but it's not. So it's a little bit misleading. First of all, the number of electric vehicles delivered, purely electric, was 83,000. That's an increase of 172% from 30,000 units in the same month last year. Plug-in hybrid vehicles were 91,000, up 203% from the 30,000 that they delivered in the same month last year. So as you can see, BYD's plug-in hybrid vehicle sales are increasing at a quicker pace than their electric vehicle sales. But this is 100% not indicative of the Chinese car market. In fact, BYD pretty much owns all the plug-in hybrid market. Well, it owns about 85% of the entire plug-in hybrid market in China. And plug-in hybrid market share is contracting in almost every country around the world. So that's the truth. That's what's really happening. Because BYD's sales of plug-in hybrids keep on going up, people think plug-in hybrids are becoming really popular, but they're not. EVs are actually taking market share away from plug-in hybrids. Now, for the first time, BYD actually published, well, for the second time, BYD published their sales numbers for overseas markets. In July, BYD sold 4,000 electric cars outside of China. In August, they sold 5,100. I'm going to guess in September that number will be close to 10,000 because I know there's a lot of cars that have been transported to New Zealand and Australia from BYD in China, but most of those haven't been delivered yet. Only some in New Zealand have been, and I think one in Australia. But I know that there's thousands waiting to be delivered into customers' hands. That'll happen in September. Those numbers will be very, very different. Could it be even more than 10,000 in the month of September? Now, here's where things start to get really interesting. BYD said it now has an order backlog of 700,000 vehicles, right? It keeps on ramping up production. Its order backlog keeps on getting bigger, which is insane because there's so many other options. In China, you don't have to buy BYD. You really, really don't. There's Leap Motor, there's Nita. There's so many brands offering similar vehicles at similar prices. And yet, BYD's backlog just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So what do they say? They said they're aiming to increase their sales per month by the end of the year to 280,000. So they're aiming to go from their current 175,000, and they say they have a roadmap to doing so, to getting to 280,000 vehicles per month by the end of the year. Then they say that they will deliver 4 million electric cars, combination of fully electric and plug-in hybrid, in 2023. 4 million. So let's just say the percentage stays around the same. That would mean 1.85 million would be fully electric and 2.15 million would be plug-in hybrid. And this is crazy. They're crazy numbers. I mean, I think Tesla's going to deliver more fully electric cars than that next year. But hell, Tesla and BYD, they're already separating themselves by such a huge margin from everyone else in the automotive industry. I think my prediction that they'd be the two biggest companies in the world in 2030, two biggest automotive companies I'm talking about, is clearly playing out in exactly the way that we all thought it would, right? I think it's pretty clear that is happening. From January to August of this year, BYD's cumulative electric vehicle sales, or a combination of plug-in hybrids and EVs, were 980,000. That's up 377% from their 205,000 units in the same period last year. How's that possible? I mean, that's 4 times. They're 4x their deliveries, 4x compared to last year. Their year-to-date sales of purely electric passenger cars were 488,000, up 227% from 148,800 in the same period last year. So in addition to being the largest electric vehicle manufacturer, and in fact, the largest manufacturer of vehicles in China, BYD is now the second largest battery manufacturer in China, and I believe the second largest in the world. I believe they've just overtaken LG Energy Solutions. I could be wrong, but I think when those numbers come out, we'll see that that's what's happened. BYD's installed battery capacity in August was 7.55 gigawatt hours, an increase of 115% from 3.5 gigawatt hours in the same month last year, and up 3.65% from 7.3 gigawatt hours in July. So far this year, BYD has installed 49 gigawatt hours of batteries, an increase of 211% from the same period last year. Another thing BYD said, which I think is very important. I've been very curious about this. What was BYD's strategy going to be in order to build these 4 million cars next year, EVs next year? Wang Chanfu, the CEO, explained what they're going to do. Barely any of their batteries are going to go to anyone except Tesla and themselves next year. In fact, Tesla's only going to be taking a very small percentage of the batteries that they manufacture next year. Almost all of them are going to BYD. They're saying, yeah. You know what? We don't want to give them to other people. And this is what I've been saying. I thought would happen. It had to happen. Why would they want to give all their batteries to Toyota? It doesn't make sense, right? So that's what they're saying they're going to do next year. In fact, that's exactly the quote that Wang Chanfu said. However, he said in 2024, when they've ramped production up to about double where they're at now, then they'll be able to share more batteries with other manufacturers, such as Tesla, Toyota, other companies, Ford, who they supply as well, etc., etc. Now, on the same day, some other interesting things happened. Wang Chanfu, the CEO, said that he believes the new United States subsidy bill is discriminatory against BYD. He may have a point. I'm not sure on that one. And Warren Buffett sold more of his BYD shares. He's now sold around 1.5% of his total position. So don't get your panties in a knot. Don't get too excited by it. He hasn't dumped his shares as some people are claiming. I'm sure the media will claim he's dumped them again. I know the media are going to claim that he's dumped all of his shares twice in a row. That doesn't add up to me. But anyhow, I'm sure that's what they'll say. He sold more shares though. He sold 1.5% of his position, which I think was a smart move. Because you know what that means? It means the money that Berkshire Hathaway invested into BYD back in 2008, they've taken all of it back. All of it back. And they still own 98.5% of their shares in BYD. That's pretty cool. I mean, think about this, right? If Toyota had done a similar thing when they invested in Tesla, or Mercedes as well, when they invested in Tesla, well, they'd have more money than they could even dream of right now. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on what's going on at BYD. 4 million EVs per year next year. BYD doesn't make empty promises. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Have a great day. Bye-bye.